Good evening, everyone. I'll call this Committee of Adjustment hearing to order. I'm just going to go over the committee's protocols for this evening's hearing. There's two applications that are on the agenda that we'll be hearing. A couple housekeeping items before we start. If you have cell phones, if you could please put them on mute or silent mode. Anyone asking questions, if they can direct them through the chair, not directly to persons being questioned. First order of business, committee adjustment, will be to ask if any members have conflicts of interest with any of the applications that are on the agenda this evening, followed by a request for any deferrals or withdrawals of applications that are on the agenda. Committee Secretary Treasurer will read out each application noted on the agenda with a brief description and staff recommendation. The applicant or the agent of the applicant will be asked to come forward or come online if they're coming in electronically, introduce themselves, be allotted a short overview of any further details they wish to add at that time. Members of the committee will then have the opportunity to ask any questions that they might have of the applicant or the agent for the applicant. Following that, any members of the public wishing to speak to an application will be asked to come forward, state their name and address for the record, try to limit their comments to 10 minutes, and must present all questions or comments pertaining to the application in that time frame. Persons making presentation will not necessarily be allowed to return again to speak to this application. Following all comments, the applicant will be afforded a closing comment if desired. The committee will then present a decision in the form of a motion. Motion will be discussed and voted upon. If a vote is tied, motion will be defeated and new motions will be made until a decision has been reached. Notices of decision will only be provided to those persons who leave their name and address in writing with the Secretary Treasurer. There's usually a sign-in page for that purpose at the back of the room, or you can email or call our Secretary Treasurer at her email address is tayatariba, T-A-Y-A.T-A-R-A-B-A @portcolborne.ca, or you can call 905-228-8124 immediately following the hearing and leave a message requesting the same. Those are the protocols for this evening's hearing. Has anyone got any conflicts of interest? Any applications? Not seeing any. We'll get to with deferrals or withdrawals of applications in a few minutes. Let me just switch to the agenda. With respect to the two items that were on our agenda this evening, staff has advised or requested that both applications B0525PC and A0425PC be deferred as staff reports have not been prepared or are ready for this evening's application. In addition, there has been some conflicting notifications on the city's website with regards to the cancellation or non-cancellation of this hearing. And in the best interest of openness and correctness, I guess that's the other additional reason for request of deferral of applications. With that, I will leave it to the floor and other members if they have any questions or comments, or we'll look for a motion to defer these two without getting into the specifics of the applications. Eric?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to staff, were the applicants notified that this meeting was going to happen and that the recommendation for deferral by staff?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee. I did send an email to, I guess it would be the owner of 174 Mitchell as well as 178 Mitchell on Friday afternoon to advise her that that her applications related to those two properties would not be proceeding to the March 12th Committee of Adjustment meeting on the basis that the staff reports had been drafted but were not finalized and required some additional refinement and review by senior staff. So to your question, Councillor, I sent an email out on Friday. And it might have been Thursday. I'm not sure.
So you told them that we were not having a meeting, but but we are having a meeting. So I'm just wondering if if anyone was notified, the applicants, that we were having a meeting tonight, once the committee realized that we were going to still meet.
Through you, Chair. I can't speak to that. Maybe I'll look to my colleagues for any further comments.
To the chair, just to correct something on the record, both applications were for 62 to 66 Page Street, whereas the other one was for 178 Mitchell Street as well. I did reach out to the applicant. I didn't get a response, but I'm not entirely certain whether or not that it was made aware to her. But we did send out an email as per what Gary said, and we did try to notify at the very least.
Just just for clarity, when did you send that?
I called her.
Okay, when was that? When did you attempt to contact them?
Beginning of the week. Through the chair to Councillor Beauregard, that was at the beginning of the week.
Okay, I'll leave it at that for now.
Any other questions or comments? So, Dave?
So we have it 100% guaranteed that contact was made with either applicant, and yet neither applicant is here. So somewhere along the line, they must have understood that either A, the meeting wasn't going to happen, or B, it looks like the deferral was going to happen, so neither of them are present. So I'm assuming that if there was no negative comments from them, either via email or phone call, they must be okay with the deferral or the cancellation of the meeting, because there seems to be no comments from the applicants. So they seem to be okay with whatever route was going to be taken. They didn't zoom in, they're not here in person. So I'm just kind of surprised that they didn't make contact. That's kind of strange, but I'll leave it at that.
To the chair, to Member Elliott, I just wanted to make it apparent, both applications are the same person, so it would only be one person, and we did not receive a response, so I just wanted to make that known to the record.
So, Eric?
Yeah, just through you, to the Secretary Treasurer. Did you follow up to that phone call with an email? Like, was there any email correspondence provided?
To Member Beauregard, it was just the email that Gary had sent, and most of the correspondence that we were doing was either agreed upon with the clerks or management at the time until we settled on something more finite.
Okay, I guess my concern is that there's potential that they thought the meeting was canceled, and then it wasn't. It's not fully canceled. We made it happen, and then that we're having a hearing without the applicant being able to, without them attending. Although we know what the recommendation is and what will likely be the decision, and it won't be harmful to the applicant by any means, it's still the procedure and process that sort of bothers me. I do believe that this meeting was supposed to happen anyways, and we should have happened and never been canceled. And I just wish we were able to get confirmation from the applicant that they knew about this. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
So with that being said, with the staff's recommendation to defer, I would like to set a date if possible. I know there were some emails back and forth about March the 26th, or it could be deferred all the way to next month. Didn't receive, like I say, any correspondence from either applicant. So I'll leave it to the committee's decision whether you wanted to try to, I believe the 26th would give ample time from correspondence that I got, that staff would be able to finalize their reports. It's about 2 weeks from now, so there would still be ample time to resend out proper notice of this new date. Obviously, a new sign would have to be posted and new mailings to at least the adjacent property owners. It doesn't need to be recirculated to other commenting agencies. They've already been given that notice, so they should have hopefully already commented by now, so that part should be covered.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if they're going to be recirculating, I just want to make sure that there's not going to be any added cost to the applicants for the recirculation.
I would assume, since it was a staff requirement to defer, not the applicants, then the applicants wouldn't be charged that deferral. It wasn't their request to defer.
I understand. Just want to confirm that was the case.
Gary?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm assuming we would all agree that it should be at no extra cost to them. I don't know if this flies in the face of where we used to be able to make that decision on the no cost, and that was taken away from us and brought back to council. You guys probably weren't here because that happened a few years ago, at least. So we've had occasions in the past where, through no fault of the applicant, we wanted to move it over and not have a new fee. It seemed kind of onerous because it did have to go to council to make the decision. I think this is, pretty straightforward and clear that we wouldn't. So I would take the chair's line that we'll leave it in staff's hands. You'll be the one doing it. I'm sure you can check with clerks in the morning if we have to abide by the letter of the law. We're abiding by the spirit of it, I think. So I'm okay with that. I did want to, if I could, add at this time, if there's enough time, again, because we've put the applicant out, I'd like to offer them both times, particularly if we were going to have April files anyways. It would allow there not to be that other meeting, and so it wouldn't be an additional cost for our remuneration. So perhaps if we put a kind of a deadline on Secretary Treasurer or Planning Department getting a hold of the staff. I mean, I think we'd like to leave here tonight for our own schedules to know what we're doing, but I think if we sort of mandate tomorrow or the next day, I know I could live with it. I don't know about other members. Well, I guess I was concerned that if we put it early, that would be ideal, hopefully, for them. But if they don't need it to be early, like in March, we'd put it on the April one. But I think given that we put them out, I'd like to give them the choice. We're the ones that inconvenience them. Just my thoughts.
With regards to the two other members that are in attendance, does the 26th work with either one of you? In case that was the... Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So if you're willing to move the deferral to either one of those two dates, provided the early date is responded to by the applicant by Friday this week, I think that would...
fits in with getting the notice.
The notification period, yeah. Then, yeah, either way, and then the Secretary Treasurer can notify us whatever the decision is made. And then due notice will still need to be resent out, sign, and circulation to the immediate property owners via whatever the process is, mail, I believe.
Sure, I'd be happy to move that referral to either of those dates, the 26th or our next regular scheduled meeting, sort of at the call of the applicant.
Okay. And a seconder to that? Dave? Questions or comments? Diana?
Through the chair to the committee, I just wanted to point out that today is March 12th, and if we do meet on March 26th, that is exactly 14 days from now. One of the applications is a consent application, which does require 14-day notice. So we would have had to send the notice out today. So just putting that out there.
The 26th was the Wednesday, right? Oh, sorry. Tuesday. 27th?
Eric?
Just through you, I think it might just be best to put it onto the next meeting agenda and just hear it then. In my experience, that's usually what happens, but I know this is different. But maybe because of the notice timelines, that might just be the best way to go. If the next meeting would be April 7th, is that what I heard? 9th? I mean, it's only, it's a couple weeks. I don't know.
Gary?
Through Chair to the Secretary Treasurer or Planner, are we aware of the applicant who knew about all of this coming? Do you know if they were if there were any property construction matter that they were in urgency to do this? Anything you're aware of?
Through the chair to the committee, given the looks around the room, I don't think any of us are aware of any urgency to their projects, no.
Perhaps we might set it at that date, but still check with them. And if there was a matter of urgency, you could notify us for some prospective dates. I like Member Beauregard's suggestion. It is the cleanest and easiest, but I don't want to put them out for our delay. So yeah, I'm happy to go with a regular scheduled meeting, but contact them anyways, if you could. And if they're in need of doing it, we'll have to come up with a new time. Might give them a week or 10 days jump and still get you 14 days in.
Okay, so with the, I'll call it friendly amendment, to a suitable date prior to April 9th, at the call of staff and the applicant, assuming proper notification periods can be met. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That'll be carried. So with that, we don't have any minutes from our last meeting. Is there any other new business anyone wishes to discuss? Eric?
Through you, I didn't know when this would be the best time to just bring it up, but just asking about, I want to ask staff about the reports for those previous applications. Were the drafts ready? They just weren't finalized? Is that my understanding? To be on this agenda?
Through the chair to the committee member, yes, they were drafted, it's just the review process, there wasn't enough time to finalize the report.
Okay, and just who's the person that signs off on it?
Through the chair to the committee member, at this time it is Craig Larmer, our planning consultant.
Okay, thanks. That's all I have for that. The other new business is there's the OCA conference coming up, and I would like to go if that's a possibility. I'm not sure if anyone else has interest, but I'd like to bring that up to the committee.
I believe it's in May, late May. Yeah, in Collingwood. I believe we still have some budget allocated for training purposes. So, yeah, we should be able to. You should be able to just contact the Secretary Treasurer, and I don't know if any other members. I've been to them before. They're very useful. You get a lot of insight on changes to Planning Act, and you get to meet fellow Committee of Adjustment members and their experiences with their various committees in town. So it's a very good experience. Gary?
Just on that, I looked at it briefly the other day, saw it was at Blue Mountain. I like some of the agenda in those 2 days. I did check it with my calendar. It does work. Is there, I've just got another thing potentially pending. Was there a drop dead date on when you need to know?
The registration just.
Was it on there? Must have been, probably.
I'll look at my email.
Thanks, Eric.
So through the chair to the committee, just for the record's sake, we don't know off the top of our heads, but we will certainly look into it and we'll let you all know for sure.
All right, yes, Gary.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee. I just want to make a couple of comments, maybe just back to Member Beauregard. And I think I indicated this to him after the council meeting last night. We've had a number of discussions internally since last Friday about process and procedure and timelines. Rest assured, we don't want to be canceling meetings, nor do staff have the jurisdiction or the authority to be canceling these committee adjustment meetings. So I want to apologize on behalf of staff and the city for acting on a unilateral basis. So I apologize for that. We've had, as I said, we've had a number of meetings, late last week, but we've had several this week. And it's all been in the spirit of continuous improvement. We want to make sure that we're not canceling meetings. We also talked about timelines to ensure that reports are ready when they're supposed to be ready. So I just wanted to provide assurances to you, Chair, as well as the committee, that we take our responsibilities to this committee very seriously. And if we find we're in a situation in the future where there's extenuating circumstances or something's not ready or there's nothing to have a meeting about, I mean, we would absolutely engage you ahead of time to have that conversation. I said it's not our decision, and we apologize for that. It's really, your decision as chair as to when meetings are and if they're happening. So, just wanted to let the committee know that we've had, I think, some very fruitful conversations, and appreciate the committee's indulgence. And let's make things better on a go-forward basis.
I appreciate those comments. I think Gary's probably going to allude to this. I believe there's a new staff member coming on board shortly. It might be good that early on in their start, maybe we can have a little group get together and kind of meet and greet, and maybe we can review some of these, I guess, issues or concerns or pass forwards or lines of communication. So hopefully don't run into these situations again. We can call it a training session, whatever we want to call it. That's fine. But yeah, maybe we can do that maybe prior to the next meeting if it's not till April, maybe not before if we have an earlier one, but might be very helpful for all of us to all kind of get together and make sure we're all on the same page. Appreciate that. Gary, do you have anything else?
You were clairvoyant. That's exactly what I was going to mention. Thank you.
Eric?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. We've also had discussions about the procedures and coming up with procedures, and it was something that this committee asked. So I'm just going to ask staff, have they looked into providing a draft procedural, I won't say a bylaw, but a draft procedures of our committee of adjustment, and just how's that going?
Through you, Chair, to Member Beauregard. So that is one of the conversations we've had this week, is to ensure that this committee has a procedural bylaw, or whatever the proper term is. Our city clerk has been away this week on vacation. She's back tomorrow. But we've had conversations with our deputy clerk about the importance of having the document, the guidelines, the procedures that you're speaking of. So it's on our radar.
So just through you, I understand the clerks and their familiarity with the Municipal Act, and I would encourage that they reach out to OCA and particularly their expertise. I believe the one was the Secretary Treasurer in Vaughan. Anyways, they have quite the expertise in how it pertains to committees of adjustment. This isn't, as obviously it's not council, so so that we have other statutory acts that we fall under. We have the Planning Act, the Statutory Powers and Procedures Act. So I think it's important that we really make sure that if clerks are going to come up with this, then that they reach out to OCA and definitely get their opinion on how this bylaw should, or sorry, this procedures for our committee should be operated and what should be included.
Yeah, to that point, I believe they have 3 examples on the OACA website. Various, some that are, I think one's a 1-pager, one's a 17-pager, and one's kind of in the middle. I think the big long one covers a whole bunch of other things other than just the Committee of Adjustment, but I think there is one good one that's in there, the one that's kind of in the middle. And just going back to your point, I'm on the OACA website right now. You have until April 25th to confirm. That's the deadline to register for that training session. So with that, if there's no other business, and I will stand adjourned until our next meeting. Thank you.